Joining me now is Lon Shaver, the president of Silvercorp Metals. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Mark.
Now, the company has a long history. A lot of investors would know it. Some may not. Just give us encapsulate sort of the assets, if you could.
Yeah, so we're a Canadian company based here in Vancouver. But as you point out, we have a long production history and a good track record of operating some very rich silver mines in China. So we produce silver, lead, and zinc from these mines, and we're coming up on our 19th year of production.
Oh, you've got three fairly recent news releases you want to roll through because they're important and they go to the heart of the story, basically. So can you do that for us? What's the first one?
I mean, very quickly, the most recent one was just about our production numbers for December. Confirmed that things are humming along, and in particular at the Ying mine. Revenues for the quarter were up over 40%. Silver production up over 16%. So, that news release demonstrates we're continuing to be a great operator. One of the other news releases was about a capital expansion that we just completed at Ying. And so we brought in a mill expansion and the completion of another tailings facility on time and under budget. So those two news releases really speak to the fact that we've got this execution capacity and capability. And then when you marry that to the other one, which was an update on our plans for El Domo, the project in Ecuador that we just bought late last year, we're really starting to paint a picture that we're on track to build El Domo on time, on budget, maybe even under budget compared to what the numbers were from the feasibility study, and really turned it into the mine that everyone's hoping it to be.
And Lon, the company recently raised $150 million to go on top of your $210 million in cash. So when you're looking for acquisitions, what's the checklist look like?
Well, given that we have a development asset right now, we're still open to other development assets, but we don't want to get into a situation where, from a timing and from a capital standpoint, we've sort of got a conflict between El Domo that we're building. So we'd love to find something that's in production right now. We could go buy it, and that would add to our growth strategy and our global diversification strategy to have more mines in more jurisdictions.
And lastly, how would you characterize sentiment in the silver market right now?
Well, I think like gold, everyone's sort of waiting to see what happens with this new administration coming in. Silver's really still got a very strong picture in terms of fundamentals based on the supply-demand picture. So it's really going to be, what is that investor demand for buying and owning silver in terms of anticipating higher prices that will drive the price back up to where we saw it in Q4.
Right, and as you know, we've seen big run-ups in 2011, 16, 21. Seems like a 5-year cadence, so we'll be due here in a while, you think?
Well, I'm not sure if it's driven off of that, but really off of fundamental factors. 5 years ago, you didn't have the amount of industrial demand for solar panels that you do now. So that's a new factor that obviously has bearing on pricing. And from a supply standpoint, mine supply hasn't been growing. In fact, it's been shrinking. Tell me anywhere in the world, are you able to easily permit and build a mine to bring extra capacity on it? So I think the picture's pretty strong for silver.
Thanks for the update, Lon.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much. Lon Shaver, he is the president of Silvercorp Metals.